خلصت الكلمة بتاعتي، واسمحوا لي اكلمكم كمواطن مصري. انا بقول شعوبنا في اثيوبيا وفي السودان وفي مصر ممكن قوي نوقع اتفاقيات كتير، ولكن لا الإرادة تكون قوية ولا النوايا تكون طيبة. الأساس في أي اتفاق بين الأشقاء هو الاستعداد لتنفيذ هذا الاتفاق، ويمكن كمان ما نبقاش محتاجين نوقع اتفاق لو احنا اجتمعنا على ألا يضر بعضنا البعض. احنا في مصر وفي أول لقاء مع رئيس الوزراء الأثيوبي أخي ديسالين، أنا قلت له إحنا ما عندناش أبدا أي تحفظ على إن أنتم تنموا وتطوروا من أجل الشعب الأثيوبي، لأن إحنا نتمنى لكم كل الخير، لكن خلي بالك أنت هتطور وتنمي وأنا معاك، لكن خلي بالك ان في مصر شعب بيعيش فقط على المية اللي بتيجي من هذا النهر ده، والمية دي بتيجي بأمر من الله من آلاف السنين المية دي بتيجي بأمر من ربنا، تنزل في أثيوبيا صحيح، لكن تيجي لمصر عشان الناس تعيش فيها وتقوم فيها حضارة. أنا بقول الكلام ده ليه؟ لأن كان كتير في السنين اللي فاتت قلق وشكوك بين الشعوب وبعضها، واحنا لما اتحركنا مع بعض قلنا نبدأ حقبة جديدة أو حقبة جديدة، حقبة من التعاون والمحبة والثقة والاستعداد ان احنا نقدم لشعوبنا في مصر واثيوبيا والسودان اللي بتنتظر وهي بتتطلع الينا دلوقتي هنا، قلبها وعقولها معانا، لان احنا بنتكلم في حياة وفي مستقبل. احنا جينا بكل الحب بكل الاخلاص بكل الامانة، ونوايانا كلها طيبة جدا جدا، واحنا متأكدين كمان ان اشقائنا في اثيوبيا والسودان على نفس هذا المستوى. الكلمة دي انا بقدمها او بقولها للرأي العام في مصر وفي السودان وفي اثيوبيا. احنا ممكن نتعاون ونعمل حاجات عظيمة جدا جدا، وممكن نختلف ونقعد نأذي في بعضنا سنين طويلة جدا جدا. احنا اخترنا التعاون والبناء والتنمية. احنا ممكن نتشكك في بعضنا البعض ونتحسب من بعضنا البعض وما نتحركش من مكاننا قيد أنملة. احنا اخترنا ان احنا نثق في بعض ونطمئن لبعض ونشجع بعضنا البعض على التعاون والبناء والتنمية. انا بقول الكلام ده لهم كلهم، للشعب المصري والشعب السوداني والشعب الاثيوبي. لما هنتعاون ربنا سبحانه وتعالى اللي احنا كلنا بنؤمن بيه هيساعدنا، وكل بلادنا هتبقى بخير. انا بشكر فخامة الرئيس عمر البشير، وبشكر اخي فخامة رئيس الوزراء الاثيوبي ديسالين، واحنا لسه لينا استكمال في المفاوضات اللي احنا بنتكلم فيها. ده اتفاق اطاري وهيستكمل عليه ان شاء الله. انا بشكركم جميعا، والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
Welcome to American Pulse. Our episode today is different. We come to you from one of the live music performance. It's called the Nine Project. The Nine Project is a band or a team that formed together of all the countries that live around the Nile Basin, like Egypt, Sudan, Kenya, Ethiopia, and the metaphor behind this music is not only just a couple of musicians playing music and enjoying their time and having a show to put together, but it's also for those countries to come together, to come to understanding, to come to a mutual communication, a mutual level where people can sit down on the table and discuss things. I think part of the problems between the countries is that the miscommunication. People don't know the needs of others. So I really think the Nile Project is a wonderful thing to think outside the box, to tell people we're all African, we never have access to Ethiopian music, we never have access to Ugandan music or Kenyan music or South Sudan music. So this team came together, put this music together, and I think not only I enjoyed it very much, or I will enjoying the show, but I think I'm also enjoying the message, the real message behind it is that countries have to listen to each other. They have to sing together. They have to sit down on one table and like any song that they compose, put the pieces together. We can also solve any problem together. So I think communication is very important, and I think the Egyptian administration now with the President Sisi has brought this to life with at the economic conference and at many other occasions. I think we're on the right track, and let's enjoy the music.
I love California. It's the best in winter, and we are going to slay this show. The Now Project is a project made of a group of musicians from 7 of the 11 countries on the Nile Basin.
We get together once a year for a residency in Egypt, and we create music so that we know each other's culture and our values.
It's a question that most Egyptians don't ask themselves. Why are we not exposed to Ethiopian culture even though they share a river with us? So it was a question that incited us to go and start a project that helps expose the audiences of the 11 Nile countries to the cultures of their neighbors through the music.
We are from Kenya, Egypt, Sudan, South Sudan, Uganda, Ethiopia.
And it's kind of like an experiment in unity, in a musical sense, you know what I mean?
And these musicians come together and make music and perform music, all in the goal of starting a conversation.
I composed this song in the first residence of the Nile Project in Aswan, Egypt. And mainly the song talks about the relationship between the Nile and the South.
Well, it's really about being conscious of your environment and who you're sharing it with, really. So there's a drought in California now, for example, and that's because there's a problem of sharing, you know. So we're talking about the Nile as being one river, one source.
There is a lot of mistrust among the citizens of the different Nile Basin countries. A lot of that mistrust is really coming from ignorance, from a lack of cultural awareness.
So you have to learn how to share.
Musical curiosity drives cultural curiosity and cultural understanding. And through that process of learning about somebody else, you start developing a level of cultural empathy that did not exist before.
Oh man. We're conducting workshops and doing performances too. And these workshops are aimed at university students, and people like these will finish their studies, come back to Africa probably, and offer their knowledge and the skills that they have learned or help the communities along the Nile Basin to conserve this river or to start projects for the goodness of this river.
يا عاشقين الغرام يا مشتاقين للقاء يا ورد فتح لبكره انا بسأل فين الوداع يطول الحزن بينا وحنلنا ينادينا تهون علينا العشره ويفتري بينا الهوى انا مرت عليا سنين قلبي الحنين وحشني قلبك الهادي بحب
معانا طبعا دينا الوديدي، كان بيرفورمانس هايل وجروب جميل. احكي لنا عن نايل بروجكت.
النايل بروجكت عبارة عن مجموعة من الموسيقيين من دول حوض النيل بيجمعوا علشان يعملوا مشروع أو صوت مختلف. فإحنا بادئين موسيقيين من السودان، من مصر، من جنوب السودان، من كينيا، من إريتريا، من إثيوبيا، من رواندا، من بوروندي. يعني موسيقيين مختلفين بنتقابل كل سنة عشان نطلع مزيكا ونعمل مزيكا. السنة دي ثالث سنة لينا. عندنا تور في أمريكا، النهاردة كان عندنا حفلة في نيويورك. فبس لسه مخلصين يعني.
الحقيقة كان أدائك رائع جدا. كنت انت غنيتي أغنيتين، ممكن تقولي اسمهم للجمهور؟
أنا غنيت أول أغنية اسمها في حضرة دل محبوبي، كلمات الشاعر ممدوح فوزي مصري وألحان محمد أبو ذكري عواد معانا في مشروع النيل. والأغنية الثانية اسمها الله باقي، كلمات السارة وأنا بالمشاركة معايا وألحاني.
بتلحني كمان؟ أنا معرفش.
طبعا أكيد.
برافو عليكي. طيب ممكن تغني لنا حتة منها؟
أغني حتة من
الأغنية الله باقي.
يا عاشقين الغرام يا مشتاقين للقاء يا ورد فتح لبكره انا بسأل فين الولا يطول الحزن بينا وحنلنا ينادينا تهون علينا العشرة ويفترق بينا الهوى. يعني ده جزء صغير جدا جدا.
جدا. قولي لي فكره النايل بروجكت جت ازاي وانت عرفتي عنها ازاي وابتديتي تشاركي معاهم؟
فكره النايل بروجكت مينا جيرجز اللي هو مؤسس المشروع هو فنان مصري وعايش في سان فرانسيسكو. هو بيعرفني، جه حضر لي حفله في مصر من 3 سنين وقال لي انا حابك تشاركي معانا بمشروع النيل. هو ميكليت حديرو اللي هي الكو فاوندر لمشروع النيل. جم حضروا الحفله ديت وقالوا لي احنا عايزينك تبقي بتمثلي مصر كمغنيه يعني في مشروع النيل. فانا حبيت الفكره جدا وسالته ايه هو مشروع النيل، فقال لي مشروع النيل كذا 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 كذا. وكان عندنا اول ريسيدنس في اسوان كانت من 3 سنين، عملناها اسبوعين في اسوان وعملنا حفله بعدها في مصر في القاهره في اسكندريه. بعد كده كان عندنا تور في شرق افريقيا السنه اللي فاتت، والسنه دي عندنا تور في امريكا.
هايل. انا حسيت انك مش بتغني بس، انا حسيت انك كمان منسجمه وحاسه الاغاني الافريقي قوي. فيعني ازاي؟
بص اقول لك على حاجه، يعني هي فكره مشروع النيل اكتر حاجه فتحتها لي هو علاقتي بافريقيا وعلاقه المصريين بالهويه الافريقيه. فانا اخدت وقت عشان ادخل جوه الموسيقى بتاعت الموسيقيين الهايلين اللي معانا من شرق افريقيا، واخدت وقت عشان افهم واستوعب الثقافه بتاعتهم، وان احنا يبقى في مزج ما بين الموسيقى بتاعتي والموسيقى بتاعتهم.
احنا ما حسيناش باي فرق. لا كان البرفورمانس رائع وما حسيناش. يعني انا حاسس ان انت بتغني افريقي من 20 سنه.
طب كويس.
شكرا وان شاء الله بالتوفيق وللاحسن او الافضل.
شكرا ليك، ميرسي جدا.
ولما سالوني الناس في غيابك علموني الناس في حي باقي باقي حي والله باقي باقي حي باقي 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 حي 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 حي.
So here we're meeting the crazy drummer, I call.
Well, that's me.
What's your name?
My name is Kasiva.
Where are you from, Kasifa?
I'm from Kenya.
Okay, so as I mentioned to you earlier, like I play a little music, so I know a little bit about music. You're right on with the beat. You made everybody dance, everybody clap.
That's my little trick there.
How did you get to know the Nile Project?
Oh well, so I attended a similar residency, or rather a project called One Beat. It's a U.S. State Department sponsored project, and we did something similar like this with the Nile Project at One Beat. And when we finished, one of the guys that I met there sort of hooked me up with it. He was like, "I've seen this wonderful project online. I want you to apply for it because it's open for any East African, and I really want you to come to Egypt and see me again, so please apply and come." So I applied, and after a few months they took me in, and I was really, really happy.
I think you're a great asset to the team.
Oh, thanks, man. Thanks.
Yeah, no, I noticed that. You know what you're doing. You're harmonizing with everybody, and beat is so important in the African music.
Oh, it is. It's sort of like it's like a train. It's like the engine. It sort of like drives the music. But generally, everybody is like so motivating to me. I mean, I couldn't have done what I've done without the help of all these amazing musicians, and I love them so much.
It's a teamwork, you guys. I can see the harmony. You guys love each other. You trust each other.
Yeah.
You play really well together.
Yeah. When we rehearse, it's all about like everybody chipping in. Like it's sort of like making a pizza, you know. Like somebody from Sudan brings the dough, I bring the onions, and Sophie from Rwanda brings the tomatoes, and Bazibu comes with a knife and he chops up everything, and the Ethiopian saxophonist Jorga is like the oven.
Yeah, it's the oven.
And after a long day of work, we serve the pizza, yeah, and we eat and be full and we be happy.
Who harmonizes everything together? Is it like, do you have a director, somebody says we'll do this, we'll do that, or you play it based on trial and error, you try it?
Oh, so when we meet for the residencies, when we meet for the residencies, that's when we come up with this music. And basically what we do, sometimes we jam and come up with, you jam and record and then listen to it later and pick out some beautiful moments. Sometimes people come with like compositions they've made and then we sort of build up on them. But basically the musical director places everything in place. He's like, I like using idioms, I'm sorry.
No, it's okay.
he's like the fridge guards and the main socket, like he's the protector, like in between, like he has to sit in between so to make like everything fall in place so that like there's not too much salt, there's not too much spice, like everything is just balanced and nice.
Well, you're making me hungry for more music.
Well, come on, tour with us, man.
Did you call your music, did you give it a name yet? I think you should.
We should. We're actually working on it. So far, we call it the Nile sound.
Yeah.
We haven't come up with a name yet, and I guess we're like in the process of that because every day as we play, the music sort of like changes. It develops. It gets like new ideas. So we haven't gotten like something very solid, but we're on the path of like actually discovering like a sound. But so far, it's the Nile sound.
Great. It's a pleasure to meet you, and best wishes, and hope next time you'll have better and better. And well, I can't say better because you have the best music already.
Thank you so much.
Another nice music.
Thank you, sir.
معانا الفنان نادر الشاعر.
اهلا بحضرتك.
انا طبعا كنت قاعد بسمع انت بتلعب على الناي والكاوله، حاجه يعني رهيبه.
ربنا يخليك. يعني انا بحاول ان انا يعني اطور شويه من الالات بتاعتنا، بمعنى ان طبعا الكاوله معروفه ان هي في مصر آلة شعبيه بحت.
انا كنت مستغرب ان هاو دي بلندد وسط الحاجات دي كلها.
بالظبط. فانا بحاول، انا بجتهد ان انا اخلي الكاوله يعني مش تقليديه قوي، ان هي ممكن اصلا تعزف موسيقى تقليديه من بلاد تانية. زي
انا حسيت انك بتلعب غربي كمان.
بالظبط كده. احنا طبعا في الريزيدنس اللي عملناه مع النايل بروجكت بنقعد مع بعض كلنا، وبسمع مثلا الموسيقى الاثيوبي، وبفضل انا احاول اعزفها على الكاوله مثلا كمثال يعني.
تقعد تمزج يعني ولا ايه؟
بالظبط ايوه. لا انا بستمتع كمان، لان انا بجد حبيت الموسيقى الافريقيه عموما يعني.
حسيت كمان ان انتوا كالمصريين يعني انا بالنسبه لي الموسيقى الافريقيه جديده، بس حاسس ان انتوا عارفينها من زمان وجواكوا وبتلعبوا معاهم وبتخشوا وتطلعوا زي ما انتوا عايزين.
بالظبط. لان من وجهه نظري الموسيقى الافريقيه بيلعبوا سلم واحد، اللي هو البنتاتونيك، اللي هو السلم الخماسي اللي بنستخدمه احنا في مصر في النوبه واسوان. بيستخدموا طبعا السلم الخماسي، وفي اثيوبيا بس برضه بيستخدموا الخماسي. معظم الدول الافريقيه بيستخدموا السلم الخماسي وكده. فاحنا بالنسبه لنا يعني في ودننا او حاسينه قوي.
انا حسيت انا شفت كمان ان كان معاك ديفرنت كاولز، يعني كان عندك كذا نوع، كذا حجم.
هو كذا حجم، لان احنا يعني مثلا كمثال في مثلا السلم الموسيقي من دو ري مي فا صول لا سي مثلا. فانا بختار مثلا المفتاح اللي انا هبدا بيه الشغل، اللي هو الفا مثلا. فبجيب اللي هي الكاوله بتاعه الفا. عاوز العب مثلا من الدو مثلا، فاجيب الكاوله بتاعه الدو اللي هي المفتاح بتاع الدو.
انا كنت الحقيقه اميزد، لان كمان انا حاسس ان في رساله قويه جنب المزيكا. يعني انا حاسس ان في رساله اقتصاديه وسياسيه والناس تعيش مع بعضها.
فعلا كلامك مظبوط. لان طبعا احنا الفكره جت ان احنا زي ما بنشارك ميه نهر النيل، اللي هو معتبر اطول نهر في العالم، زي ما بنشارك الميه، ليه ما بنشاركش الموسيقى بتاعتنا برضو اللي من 11 دوله، وان احنا نوصل رساله للناس، مش للحكومات بس مثلا، او لا، للناس عموما، ان احنا بنقدر ان احنا نشارك مع بعض ونبقى عيله واحده واسره واحده في امريكا.
اتمنى لكم التوفيق وعمل مشرف وهايل، وتحيا مصر.
تحيا مصر طبعا، تحيا مصر.
What brings you here today?
The music. There's a deep music that just talks to your soul, so it was beautiful.
Music is the voice that we have, that we all understand.
There's many magics, it's only magic, but for one, it's a universal language.
You know, something that you can't see or smell or touch necessarily, and it
just affects you, something
like your heart, yeah.
I thought the performance overall was phenomenal.
I love it so much.
I thought the oud player was exceptional, the rhythm people, all of them, they were like, all became like one beautiful rhythmic instrument. The women were fantastic. The women were just fantastic.
العود كان رائع ودينا لما غنت كمان كان الموضوع جميل جدا يعني.
I leaned over to my brother and I said, she's a priestess. I don't know what that means to you, but it means to me that she goes someplace else in her music, and she's so talented that she takes us with her. It was really exquisite.
One of my hot spots is the fusion of cultures and how they influence each other, and how they bring about change and greater new kinds and varieties of music and all kinds of art. It works in visual art, it works in performance, it works in spoken word and literature. It's pretty great. These guys are just, it's like a perfect example.
I don't know if it can bring politicians and leaders to the table, but it can definitely bring the people together.
A common person, really, we don't have any problems with each other. I always feel it's like the politicians at the top that are, causing drama, but when we all come together, all 7 billion of us, with no problem, everything is fine.
It's only music that can bring people together like this.
The music is telling us that we're the same people.
Well, for me, music is my religion, I really say.
I have the founder of the Nile Project. How are you?
Good, good.
What's your name?
Me.
Now we're American Pulse from القاهرة والناس, an Egyptian. American Pulse from القاهرة والناس, Egyptian TV channel.
أهلا وسهلا.
Great work, a great idea. How did you think of it?
Well, this is the kind of work I do, connecting dots and bringing musicians from different parts of the world together. So this was just one manifestation of this work. I'm an ethnomusicologist, and this is the kind of work we do. We bring musicians together from different parts of the world and produce these collaborations. For the Nile Project specifically, it was an inspiration from Ethiopian music that I started looking at what connects Egyptians and Ethiopians, and the Nile is a very clear connection. So
do you think did you hit it on the right time, because now there's some political, I mean, before the economic conference there was some political misunderstanding and the distribution of water in the Nile. What do you think?
Well, we started the project about 3.5 years ago, so we started it before the Grand Renaissance Dam was so much of an issue, and for us it was a way to prevent the conflict from reaching this flashpoint where these different people are not coming to terms about their differences and finding ways to resolve so much of the challenge that they face together. So for us, the music is a way to start the conversation. And
it's a wonderful idea, and actually when I came I learned about the Nile Project, but I didn't realize how harmonious and how great it is, the team together. I mean, they feel like they're coming from one country.
Yeah, it's amazing what happens when you bring these people together and give them the time and the chance to realize how much they have in common. We have a lot in common with a lot of people from other parts of Africa, and this has been a great experiment in finding that.
What's the current tour, and what's your plan in the next tour?
So this is our first tour in the U.S. And we've been...
Where are you based out of?
I live in San Francisco, but the Nile Project also has an office in Cairo, and we have performed in Cairo multiple times, and we're going to be touring for another 7 weeks here in the U.S. We're visiting 35 universities, and we're conducting a number of residencies and panels and discussions about the Nile and about all the cultural dimensions that surround the water.
It's so amazing that you guys bringing the countries together, and I feel it's so important to have the people come together, dance together, listen to music together.
Yeah, I mean, this is kind of the way people usually get connected, right? This is how people realize their common humanity and their shared cultural connection. And once you have this experience, it's much easier to talk about water issues. It's much easier to talk about the water quantities that we have to allocate and the challenges that we have to solve together. So it just changes the paradigm around being part of the Nile Basin.
I was sitting there listening to the music and watching to the performance, and I feel like you folks had like direct and indirect messages about how to live together and be harmonious and be happy together.
Yeah, for us it's a metaphor. It's a metaphor for the way we can organize ourselves around the Nile as citizens, not just as politicians. What we can do, musicians would not normally be associated with a water conflict, and here we are. We found a way to engage audiences and to get them to start rethinking being part of the Nile Basin. So we're hoping that this would be an inspiration for university students across the Nile Basin to find ways to address the problem with whatever skills and experience they have.
Have you ever thought to build something parallel to the Nile Project, something against terrorism, for instance?
I don't think that's my challenge. I think I'll keep it with the Nile Project for a while. It's a long river and we have barely scratched the surface, so we have plenty to go on there.
Good luck, Mina. Best wishes, and I think you're doing great.
Thank you so much.
We'll sip on some mustard on the river will come, mustard on the clothes might dry, mustard on children may fly, everything this is what life always should be. Come on, flowers, hills like the yellow sea.
We have the co-founder of the Nile Project. Can you mention your name?
My name is Makli Tadero.
Nice meeting you. Beautiful performance, beautiful music. Everything was just perfect.
Thank you so much.
Can you tell us about the Nile Project? How did you get the idea and the whole 9 years?
So the Nile Project began in August of 2011, and it started through a conversation between myself and Mina Girgis, who is an Egyptian ethnomusicologist and actually an old friend of mine. And we were both at an Ethiopian music concert in Oakland, California. We both live in the Bay Area.
So I assume that you're Ethiopian.
Yes, I'm Ethiopian, yes. I forgot to say that. And we were talking after the concert just about the fact that in diaspora in San Francisco, we can get to know each other. We are each other's peers and colleagues, friends, neighbors, but on the continent of Africa itself, we don't have access to each other. In Ethiopia, you can't hear Egyptian music. In Kenya, you don't hear music from Egypt. In Egypt, you don't hear music from Uganda. We share the Nile, yet we don't know each other very well. And so it started from a place of cultural curiosity. We wanted to get to know each other, and we were talking, Mina said,
let's do it.
What if we brought musicians together from the Nile countries to create music together? And we stopped, and we were so stunned by the idea, and we said we have to do this. So we started.
Here will come and then deep.
guys did a wonderful job. I was just talking to the saxophone player, and I mentioned to him that there's so much behind the music. It could be actually a start of a conversation between the countries on a political level and economical level. We share the Nile River, which we share the life, right?
Yes.
This is what brings life to the region. So I think that could take the conversation to a different level.
Yes, you know, what we realized very quickly was that we're in a place where actually we need very much to know each other more, and the power, the potential to come together culturally, to understand each other more, to make the Nile neighbors real people. You know, it's to not have it be an abstract thing, but to have people that you have love for, you know, a real sense of brotherhood and friendship and sisterhood, and this is what music can do.
How did you mix the music? It's amazing. Like, I see Egyptian guys singing in African and Ethiopian, and African and Ethiopian players singing in Egyptian. What's going on?
It's a very carefully considered process. So we started from small groups. First, we had learning sessions. So, you know, the first day, the Ugandans would get up and teach us about Ugandan music at the residencies. The next day, the Egyptian musicians would teach us about Egyptian music, and Ethiopian music the next day. And at the same time, over time, we started developing listening sessions so we could really deeply hear each other's music, learn about what is a quarter tone, how can you reach for it, you know? And because it takes practice, it's difficult and so beautiful, you know? And then through learning, you start to develop a love for each other's music and a real respect for it. Then we start collaborating together on compositions. We write songs and we arrange all together the music.
It's amazing, wonderful work. God bless you, and I think you have a bigger message to deliver.
Thank you so much. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you as well.